There's a lot of angst on social media around comics, and this isn't a new thing. I mean, the social media part sort of is. I mean, kind of. But I mean, I remember big fights going on in MySpace. Does anybody remember MySpace? Remember that stupid MySpace? Yeah. There used to be wars that would go on between people on MySpace. There's, on message boards that people had set up on the Usenet, go way back. So none of this is new. But why does it happen? I mean, I guess that's the crazy part. Why does it keep happening? Hey, everybody, this is Perch. I get asked a lot, I would say, to weigh in on kind of the various comings and goings on social media around different factions. You get the Comicsgate people, and then you get the anti-Comicsgate people, and then you have the war campaign people, and there's Kiwi Farms, and and there's pros, and then there's pros who don't like other pros, and then it just the big reason why I haven't weighed in on it, you can go all the way back to the very, 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 very first video. I talk a little bit about why I don't really go in for drama. I mean, but there's a more pragmatic reason, and the biggest is the factions and the people and all of it seem to change like from week to week to week, to the point that if I'm not quick in getting the video recorded and put online, and for those of you who listen for a while, I don't. A lot of these videos are recorded, days, weeks, or sometimes even months before they actually air. Everything will change. I mean, the pandemic was bad enough. I had all these videos talking about things that started to age like bad milk, and I had to just cram out there. It's why for the month of April and May, you've been getting like 3 videos a day. It's because this stuff ages fast. And I think that to comment on drama, I either would have to do it in the moment in a live stream, and then who cares is the other part of that equation. Like who even wants to listen to that? I don't know. But it just doesn't go anywhere. I mean, sorry, it moves so fast that my commenting on it would not go anywhere. It wouldn't matter. Is the point? So, uh, you so why does this exist? Because this isn't a new phenomenon, even though it feels new. A lot of people have talked about how, I see pros say, well, we've never had anything like Comicsgate before. Well, no, you have. You did on, like I said, you did on MySpace. You have on the Usenet. The old Warren Ellis boards used to have brawls, CBR. I mean, I saw Kelly Thompson talk about how the this Comicsgate stuff was really, really foul, and why did it exist in comics, and just it's a shame this started happening. And I'm like, but you remember you used to write for CBR. I mean, you did an article once that where you hired Chris Anka, and so you got some people to redraw costumes of female characters to be more sensible, and you got just reamed, and there's like a whole, and then you got super angry and flamed out on the message boards, and then a bunch of people got banned and deleted. I mean, none of this is a new thing, is the point. None of this is going to be, and I think everybody should take some comfort in that. We're not dealing with unprecedented harassment times or anxiety times. People have always been this way. They've just got new ways to express it. I don't know, what kind of, I never have quite been able to wrap my head around is that you have, for example, you have some people who do live streams. You get kind of the John Malin, Ethan Van Sciver, and crew. They do live streams, and they seem like they're just screwing around to me. Now they're having fun. They're doing their thing, but none of this seems serious to me. And when I say serious, I mean they're not there like trying to talk about how to save the comic industry. They're sniping somebody else's show, or they seem like they're just kind of, it's like, you ever watch that show, the '70s show, where like every now and then they'd go into the basement and four of them are sitting around getting high and just kind of talking about crazy, insane stuff. That's what this feels like. It feels like a bunch of people just kind of BSing, and for whatever reason, this is popular, and so people come and they watch it and they do their thing. And it's like, all right. So I never have quite understood the people who get super pissed off about those shows. I can see getting pissed off about it in the sense of like, this is a waste of time, or I don't want to, be involved in this because it seems like these guys are just making dirty jokes at each other and stupid. But I don't get like the people who go on with this is an existential threat to comics. I mean, is it though? It's like it feels easy to ignore. At least it has been for me. I've just generally ignored all this stuff. But then it gets weird where you have the people who are doing the live show, and again, I'm not the historian on all this. You have this thing, the war campaign guys, and then they do their own shows, and then they're sometimes in shows with the Ethan and Malin and crew, and then they all start to fight each other. And I mean, it feels to me like I'm a pro wrestling guy. I mean, I used to watch pro wrestling. To me, it feels like a work. Now, if you're not a pro wrestling guy, you may be saying to yourself, what is a work? Well, work is basically where they're going out and they're pretending that something is real, which arguably you could say is all of pro wrestling. But this is where, they like the wrestler might come out and they're like, okay, we're getting serious now. No more pretend. I really have a problem with you. You cheated on my wife. And then, it's like, oh, they're trying to trick the audience saying, yeah, we know that that some of this stuff is fake, but this time it's actually it's really real. And sometimes they'll use another word in pro wrestling called a shoot. And a shoot is where the person is going off script and they are saying something real. And this happens from time to time, but most of the time, when the viewer is thinking they're seeing a shoot, they're actually seeing a work. They're seeing just a different layer of the fakery. They're just seeing a different part of the game. That's all that's really going on. And this happens in pro wrestling all the time. So when I see some of these shows and some of these arguments, my immediate thought is this is all work. This is just people who are trying to stir up attention for each other because drama sells clicks, and if they get these feuds really going, then this is what will, for some more people with super chats and clicks onto the videos, and it's like it all just equals some money. Controversy is king. I think Eric Bischoff, as he used to say. So that's how it feels. Now, is it? I have no idea, nor really honestly do I particularly care. It's their business, their money, their way of doing things. The only downside to all this is that I think that there are some smart minds in comics all over the place. And if they are distracted by fighting each other over drama and silly nonsense, they're not actually producing much except for drama and money. Now, if you figured out a way to monetize that drama and money, then good on you. You're producing wealth for yourself, and cool, you've created yourself a little business. But for most people, it's you're just producing air, and you're not producing actual comics, the thing you're in theory supposed to be talking about. And to be clear, I don't think everybody needs to be all comics all the time. They don't need, their life is not devoted to the service of comics where, every single thing they do needs to be creating comics or benefiting comics. I'm not saying that. But it's a lot of time and energy that goes into something that has, at best, very, very short-term value. At absolute best, you are creating clicks for yourself and temporary money, and maybe even a little bit more than temporary. Maybe you're using this drama to kind of push your crowdfunded book, and you can get 100,000 going for your book. I mean, good for you. But it's not long-term value. The only way you keep that going is if you can continue to ride the controversy wave forever. And most people can't do that, nor do most people want to do that. I mean, there's a certain just basic sanity kind of test that comes into do you enjoy fighting all the time? I don't know, but the most important part is that, and I think this is kind of the basis behind my point. Again, none of this is new. People wasted all kinds of times. You went to go look at John Burns' message board where he would flame out at people, and look where he is now. He's out of comics for all intents and purposes. And I'm not saying that one leads to the other exactly, but I am saying that if you look at all the hours John Burns spent messing around on there, and you could suddenly steal that time back and get him to produce comics, that would be pretty incredible. I look at a lot of the crowdfunded books that get late by, not like a month, but late by a year. And you think to yourself, well, there's hundreds or thousands of hours spent arguing with people on social media or on YouTube or wherever it happens to be. I mean, if even half of those hours were put toward actually making books, they probably wouldn't be late, or there would be more of them. You'd put more cash in your pocket. But unfortunately, the cash is kind of forever linked to the outrage. in a lot of cases. So if you just stop doing the angry fighting on social media, you probably would not make as much money for your books, because some of the money you're getting is in support of your outrage, not support of the actual product you're putting out. But that's where I go back to. I think it's short lived. And again, some people are like, oh, he's talking about Ethan Van Sciver or those guys. No. Again, I got to hammer this point home. It happens all over the place. Whether you're a writer for Marvel, I mean, so case in point, Donny Cates is enjoying a wonderful time in his career. He's got Venom really clocking. He did his Cosmic Ghost Rider book that got popular. He's got an indie book coming out. He's been very generous in terms of he donated or basically gave a lot of money to comic shops to buy people's pull lists. That's a cool deal. But he has in the past also gotten into nonsensical fights with others on Twitter. And I suspect, although I don't know, that if I ever ran into Cates in somewhere and I sat down and I said, hey, if you could right now just erase all that time you spent arguing with people on social media, the weird little argument that he and Peter Samedi had over like who was more like Stan Lee, that was just an argument that, I mean, I'm sure was entertaining for some people, but like, wouldn't everybody involved rather have just put that time into making comics? I mean, I gotta believe that would have been more exciting for people to do, but maybe I'm wrong. But I think that the point here is, it often feels like we're in the middle of this, that this is new, that this is what's happening right now, and we're in different times, and the people involved it's never been like this before. But the reality is it has. Even back in the Usenet, and I do not remember the name, there was a group that was very similar, same idea as a War Campaign, where at the time there were a couple creators they liked. They would go out and really mob people who didn't like those creators. They would, it was a circle. And this is back in the early 90s, so almost 20 years ago. Wait, more than that, 30 years ago. Jesus, almost 30 years ago, this stuff was going on. And generally speaking, you look at the people who kind of ignored it and stuck to their business, produced comics, and you look at the people who got wrapped up in it, and the people who produce comics are doing a lot better today, probably both financially and mentally. Whereas the people who dive in, it tends to be a race for the bottom. Even if it doesn't feel like it at the time, it feels like a race to the bottom. But anyway, it's a little bit of context, social media and arguing and everything else. It feels like people are always doomed to repeat it. The thing that threw me, like I mentioned earlier, was Kelly Thompson's comment about now it hasn't been like this before. And I'm like, but it has been like this before. It's been like this for a while, and you were part of it before. Like you saw it directly to you before. This isn't. Not only is this not new, like you had firsthand. I don't know. People are weird. But yeah, it is what it is. So there you go. This is probably the closest I'm ever going to get to really commenting on the drama. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have opinions on this stuff, but what do they matter? Like I said, by the time this video goes out, most of these people will change their names or be gone, or they'll be friends again or fighting a second time, or I mean, who knows what's going to go on. So there's no point in really getting wrapped up in it. I always go back to whoever you are, whoever you voted for, whoever your buddies are, whatever it happens to be. If you produce content, if you work on just making something and putting it into the market, getting some feedback, maybe doing it again, I'm on your side. I will always be on your side, and I think you should just keep doing that. And the second you start to go into side quests of let's beat up on the guy who drew for Richard Meyer, or let's attack Mags Saggio because of a tweet you made. The second you go down that way, it's junk food entertainment. It may taste good at the moment and kind of fun and silly to get involved in, but it has no meaning long term. Or think about all those fights that occurred back in 2018 around Heather Antos, and I mean, just where has any of that gone now? Like she's hopped jobs twice, I think, at least. I don't know financially if she's making more money. I'd hope. I don't know. The other guy, the Meyer is continues to put out videos, and he's making a lot of money. I'm assuming off his channel. He's got a couple books under his belt, which is awesome. Good for him. But this angst, like what did it matter? Did it solve anything? Were hearts won and the day saved? I don't know. I don't know. Downvote this video, folks, and leave a comment below. That would be awesome. Subscribe or say I've had enough. Off to the drama. I've been misled. This channel is supposed to provide more drama. You can do that too. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook at Comic Perch. I'll be nice to you, whoever you are. Thanks for listening.